What do we mean by the shift method? It's really about how do you actually reduce overwhelm? So great, we now know current state. My partner and I are working on the same page. How do we actually reduce the amount of work that we're doing? There's really three ways to do it. You can stop doing the work. And as you start to align on values and standards, it might become very clear to both of you that there's just work that isn't valuable for either of you to do. And you can just take a breath and say, hey, let's stop doing that. Maybe because you haven't had a conversation, you each think that the other person wants to do this activity. And you find with a discussion that you're both happy to simply stop. That's a huge win. Shape is very important. And this is where you really get into those standards and understand why do we do the things that we do? And what does good laundry look like? What does a good meal look like? What does success look like for some of these different tasks inside your home? And you might find that you are doing things to a standard that doesn't actually make sense for your family, given your season, your budget, your dynamics, your work schedule, right? And so having an open conversation about standards is one way to get a bunch of time back. Because are there things that you could just be doing more efficiently that gets you some much needed time back? And share. So, are there things that can shift to your partner's plate, or in some cases, to outsource help to your children or even folks in your village that might also be able to help them? If it was easy, the Persist wouldn't exist. But the reality is that it takes quite a bit of introspection and communication to really make these shifts because stopping doing things, oftentimes, particularly for women, triggers a lot of guilt and fear of judgment, and you're letting people down. And there is a lot of fear around what happens if I simply stop doing something that I've always done or that I think others slash society expects me to do. Shaping something forces us to question our identity. It can feel really defensive when someone is like, why do you fold clothes like that? Right? Rather than asking yourself honestly, why do I fold clothes like this? Why? Oh, because it helps them not be wrinkly. But really sort of questioning why things are done a certain way can actually be pretty challenging work, but it's really critical. And then obviously sharing the work takes trust and communication and letting go of control. And that is very hard to do.